Hello and welcome to my wonderfully shitty Titanfall 2 skinning tutorial series. This is going to be the first episode in a little series. In this episode though, I'm just going to be covering how to get models and textures of guns from Titanfall 2 into Blender. Alright, first thing to understand is that the models and textures are stored in different files in the Titanfall 2 directory. We've got to extract them, and then we've got to fiddle with them a little so they work in Blender. So we'll start with textures. They're stored in an RPAC file. What we're going to do is we're going to get a tool called Legion Plus. It'll rip them out the file, so we get the raw PNG files or whatever. Then we're going to have to use a special node in Blender so they display correctly in Blender. Then for the models, we've got a VPK file. So what we're going to do with that is we're going to open it up in the Harmony VPK tool. And then from there we can extract the .mdl files. Those aren't quite good to work in Blender just yet though. We're going to use a tool called crowbar to then decompile the MDL files into SMD files. And then use another plugin for Blender called Blender Source Tools so we can actually load them into Blender. Then all we've got to do is apply the textures to the model, and we're done so. Links for all these tools are going to be in the description, including Blender and Blender Source Tools. But I will be going over how to install them all, just for anyone who is new to this kind of thing. Alright, now to downloading everything. So we've got 6 different things we need to download. So we'll start off with the VPK tool. Go to the latest release, click assets, then it depends on your system, but I imagine you'll be on Windows. And if you're on Windows, you can choose either or, just the exe file or the setup. I just downloaded the exe. It's just like a standalone thing. You just double click it and it opens. Alright, next is crowbar. Again, go to the releases page, it's linked in the description. Download the 7-zip archive right here. If you don't already have 7-zip installed, or something that could WinRAR that can open 7-zip, just look up 7-zip, it's free. Download it using the installer, and then you'll be able to open these files. You open one of these, and it'll just have the crowbar.exe in, just drag it out. Next is Blender Source Tools, but we'll go for Blender first. Blender, we're just going to use for previewing the model. What you want to do is you want to go to 4.2 LTS, or whatever the latest download is, and just click download. Run the exe, it downloads, go through the dialog, and it will install. Next is Blender Source Tools. What it'll do is when you hit download, it'll install a zip. What you've got to do then is open Blender, go to Edit, Preferences, Add-ons, this little arrow thing here, and install from disk, and then go to your downloads folder wherever it was, and just double click the zip file. Next is Legion Plus, just like the other ones. Go down to, I wouldn't go for the nightly build, but I would go for the latest release. Download the zip, and the zip will include a bunch of files like that. Remember, just extract them again, just like you did with crowbar. Finally, we've got the specular glass shader. All you want to do is go to this page, hit the download raw file button, and it'll download it here. And then I'll show you what to do with that layer, because you got to kind of install it individually for each, Blender instance here. Alright, first part to actually getting through this is finding where your Titanfall is installed. So I'm assuming everyone has the EA app version, just because it comes with, you have to install it when you open Steam. All you want to do is go to the little ... view properties, and then hit browse on the install location bit here. And it'll open you up in the folder. For Steam, it's basically the same thing. So I've got this kind of fake North Star window up just for, to give an example. Just go to the cog icon, manage, browse local files. It's the same thing. Alright, first we're going to go through how to extract textures with Legion Plus. So open Legion Plus, it'll take a second. And then go to load file. And then what you got to do is you got to go to your Titanfall install location, just like I showed you earlier. Click on the address bar, copy it, and then paste it into the address bar, this one. And then go to R2, hacks, Win64. And then you're wanting to sort by size and find common.rpac. For this tutorial, I'm just going to do the car, because it's the, basically the default weapon. And there we go, we've got car SMG right here. Make sure you go for the material one, and you're looking for just, not the AO, the clavicle, basically all of these individual PBR textures will get extracted when you extract the main one here. Do note that weapons like the Vault aren't called the Vault in the game files. I'll link a guide that like translates them in the description. Then you want to do, go to your Legion Plus install, go to exported files, materials, and then I extracted the car SMG. So open this folder, and there we go, we've got all our different textures. Alright, next we're going to be doing the models. This is a bit more difficult than the textures. First, open Harmony VPK, open a VPK, and then again, you know, to your Titanfall 2 install location. I've still got it on my clipboard, so I'll just enter it here. Then, VPK, obviously. And you're looking for client_frontend.bsp packs, blah, blah, blah. And you're looking for the _dir one. So there it is. This should load everything. Next, models, weapons, car 101, and then, so this is the world model, which is like a lower resolution, if you will, model that will appear when you've dropped the gun, and there's the PTPOV, which is the first person model. You're going to want this one, and just hit extract, and then you go to select a location for it to extract. I'll just extract it to my desktop. Ta-da! And it's done. You're good to delete this log file, and then open models, weapons, car, and there you go, you put the MDL file right there. Alright, next, you want to go on crowbar. Wait, like give it a second to load up. Then decompile. So look at the settings I've got here. Just copy them. All you want to do is drag and drop this into the input, change output to subfolder of MDL, and it will make a new folder with the decompiled one in on your desktop. Just hit decompile, and you're done. Finally, I'll show you how to put them all in Blender. So, I've got a new Blender file. Hit A and delete everything, just to start off with. I'm going to zoom out a bit. First thing you want to do is go to File, Append, and do you remember the SG Blender file we installed earlier? This one right here. Hit that. Go to Node Tree, go to S/G Blender, and you're done. And I'll show you what that does in a second. Before we do that though, what you want to do is you want to go File, Import, SMD, Source Engine SMD. And this is going to be importing the model we just decompiled. Go into the decompiled folder we just had, and you want the QC file, and this will load everything in. Give it a second, it usually takes a while. And ta-da! It may have had some errors, but it all got loaded in. Okay, now it's all loaded in. First thing I would do is delete the bones, and go and grab the main part of the gun, go to the little wrench here, the modifiers tab, and delete the armature, and repeat that for the magazine and anything else you want to stay on the model while you texture it. So everything that's gray is the stuff you'll actually be texturing. Grab the rest of this stuff and just delete it. You don't need it. It's just attachments and stuff. You might want to clean up your model tree as well. Alright, now you've got to move everything because it's way over to the side here. Just hit A, and then Y, and then R, 90, oh, whoops, and G again to move, and ta-da, it's all at the center of your screen. Okay, now actually applying the textures, go to the shading tab. I'm going to close this one just right here for convenience, and go to your materials tab, hit use nodes here, get rid of this one here, this node that is, and look up S/G Blender. So what this does is, I'm going to explain it in this video. I'll link another video in the description that explains it properly. But Blender uses a different physically based rendering set of textures. It's kind of hard to explain. But point is, you need to use this special node to convert the specular and glossiness nodes into something Blender can kind of understand and render properly. And then from here it's quite simple. Whoops. Go to the texture files you exported, and then drag them in one by one and link them up. So, I'll start with the coal, which is just the base color. Drag that into the diffuse one. I'm going to minimize these ones just so they don't get in the way. Whoops, not again. The ambient occlusion, the AO, same thing again. And then repeat this for the specular gloss, the cavity map, the normal, and the emission if it has it. that's everything hooked up. Just for reference, the 3 letters, or 2 in this case, at the end of each texture will let you know what node to plug them into. So coal is diffuse, AO is AO obviously. SBC is specular, GLS is glossiness, CAV is cavity, NML is normal, and then ILM, illumination, is emission. And there we go. Ta-da, we're done. It's in Blender, it's textured, and then what we can do is if you want to use whatever image editing program, we can edit this, or we can even edit it in Blender, and then we'll be able to preview it on the 3D model. Hello, thanks for watching, and I hope this helped. The next couple tutorials about actually editing the texture should be coming out in the next decade, if we're lucky. If you had any trouble with any of the steps, or had a weird error, feel free to ask in the comments. I'll try and respond to everything. Anyway, thanks for watching again, and goodbye!